It's the beginning of a new era, and it's time to drop the gate here at A1.
Ryan Villopoto's done it. He wins back-to-back season openers in Anaheim.
All right, we're back, everybody. Welcome to Title 24, presented by NBC Sports. I'm Ricky Carmichael. That's Ryan Villopoto. It's time. Season 2. We're here, 2024, back again. Episode 1. My man, RV, myself, we're going to be bringing it to you each week this year. We're really excited about it. Before we get going, big thanks, partners back on this year again to take another year is United Motorsports. Appreciate you guys. Quad Lock, and of course, Boxo USA. We appreciate you joining the ride with us. And RV, it's been a fun off season. Holidays were good for me. I'm ready to rip, but I will say, although A1 and the 2024 SMX Championship begins this weekend in Anaheim, dude, my favorite pastime is snow skiing, snowboarding, and you are on a family trip. Tell us about it.
That's right, man. We're up in Mammoth right now. Last minute trip. We woke up on I think Monday morning, and the wife was like, "Hey, let's jam to Mammoth. We have this week open, so we're up here. We got a fresh 15 inches last night. So boys, actually, I just got them out the door for their private snowboard lesson, and I'll be right behind them when we're wrapped up. So yeah, it's awesome.
Do you ever ski, or are you just strictly snowboard?
I cannot. Well, I tried to ski 2 years ago, and with the plates that are in my leg from St. Louis, they run so far up the front of my shin that the ski boot is so rigid. I can't even put a boot on and get them in the skis because it bothers me too much. So I'm a boarder, man.
Oh, there you go. That's
I try.
The first time I was ever, just so for our viewers and listeners, the first time I ever got to snow ski was like 2008. I never went, when I was racing, obviously. And the first thing that I did was snowboard over skiing. And I had an epic time. And the reason that I decided to snowboard first, because I used to do a lot of wakeboarding back in the day when I was younger. So anyhow, I love it. It's my favorite pastime for sure. There's just something about it. So I am jealous of you for sure. When you guys coming back?
We come back Thursday morning, and then I'll go be there Friday to pick up my credential, and baby, it's on.
Sweet. Well, I'm excited to go. There's been a lot of talk. We're going to get into it today, but let's just rip the Band-Aid off right now. Getting into that 250 SMX Championship and the new shiny object. He's deserved this talk, but Jett Lawrence, he is the SMX World Champ. Reigning SMX World Champ. He hasn't raced a full Supercross season at all. Hasn't even raced a big bike in Monster Energy Supercross. And I want to hear what you have to say. I think the guy's got what it takes. I think he's going to have some bumps in the road. But I mean, what's your take?
I 100% agree. I think it's going to be interesting to see how Eli. I'm going to just switch gears real quick and come back to Jett. How he approaches this. Is he going to come out of the gate, hot and heavy and ready? Or is he going to work in a little bit slower? So I think that's going to be the question, or, what we're going to have to wait and see. Because I look at the roster, I look at the sheets and look at, yes, Eli is a main contender. Jett's a main contender. There's definitely Sexton's a main contender, right? So I do think that 17 rounds or 20 rounds basically of super motocross is going to be an adjustment for Jett, but I also say he's traveled the world. He's seen so many conditions, like we've talked previous shows, and honestly, I think he will be okay, but he will have some bumps in the road. It's a long, grueling season that he hasn't seen yet.
Hey, do you feel like the chances of going undefeated are easier in Supercross or harder in Supercross? You answer that, and I'll tell you what I think.
I will say that I think it's harder to go undefeated in Supercross. With only one gate drop per night, close racing. Outdoors, I feel like for me, I can only speak for myself, is when I went to outdoors after Supercross, it was a little bit of a weight off my shoulders, because now I'm looking at this whole, I got 30+2, a little mistake I can recover from. You make a little mistake in this class, in these stadiums, on these tracks, it's going to be, it's really, really hard to come back and chase down Chase or chase down Eli or any one of the riders that are winning that night. If you have it's probably not going to happen just because of the shorter racing and how close it is.
Yeah, I agree with you 120%. I definitely kind of echo what you're saying. It's like I just feel like your area of where things can go wrong they're so great, so much greater in Supercross. The margins of error are much tighter.
Yep.
To your like motocross, outdoor motocross is, I feel like you can get away with so much stuff. Yes, the motos are longer and there's 2 motos. I mean, definitely a lot more racing time, but at the same time, I mean, you get a little sideways, you have so much more room on the track to deal with, where, one little slip up in Supercross and it's game over for the most part. You hit a tough block or they're just the margins for error is a lot thinner in Supercross. So I'm with you. That's why I think it's harder to go undefeated Supercross. And you know what? I'm not even trying to crown a champion, but I do definitely think that that Jett is going to be one of the guys to keep an eye on for sure, for good reason. You know what? We got some fun stuff this year, everybody. United Motorsports moment. This is going to be a dedicated section to them each week. And for all of you guys, United Motorsports has made a landing pad. It's unitedmotorsports.com/title24. You guys go there, sign up. And this is really important. Listen to this. When you go and sign up, you're going to get a $15 credit to your next purchase. So right out of the gate, all you got to do is sign up, $15 credit. And the cool thing that United Motorsports is doing each week, they are going to pick, out of all the people who sign up, they are going to pick one lucky winner every single week and get a $50 credit to your account, or your purchase. So this is something that I'm really excited about. Great to see United Motorsports really getting involved. And like I said, Ray Butts and the crew over there do a fantastic job. But the reason that we are showing this sound on tape, the United Motorsports moment, is because I think it's pretty important to show what Jett Lawrence and what he's looking for.
Pretty simple is to try and just win as many championships as I can. No matter the way I do it is if it's winning all of them, coming second in every single race, or going up and down. But all I need to do is, for me and my goals, is to win as many championships and try and actually get close to McGrath's winning race wins. That's the big one.
72 is something that, I mean, you're just starting. Why not?
Exactly. We're at 0. Why not have it now? Started off strong.
That's a bold statement. For everyone wanting to know, we grabbed that in media days, which is awesome that a lot of the athletes show up for that. Gives us some time to talk with them, see how their off season going, see what their expectations are going. But that was earlier in December, and producer Chris Bond was asking Jett that, and dude, he throws it out there. I've never really heard anyone say, I'm going for MC's Supercross record. What's your take?
I mean, those are some big shoes to fill, as we all know. Myself, you, Ricky, we have quite a few wins in Supercross, but man, getting to that 72 is it's a huge number, and I think the big thing is multiple seasons of big numbers. You got to knock down, 10 to, let's say 15 wins per season to get to that 72 mark, depending on his trajectory of his career and how long he plans on racing, right? Because there's only, if he goes undefeated, okay, we can knock down 20 right there, but the odds of that happening right now, I'm going to say, are slim to none. I think he's going to win. I think he's going to win probably 10 rounds, if not maybe more. I think Eli has the opportunity to win 10 rounds or more. And then Chase also, throw him in the mix, if he's cleaned up those mistakes and how the motorcycle is how he's adjusting to the new motorcycle, the platform, and the new team and all of that. So those are some big shoes to fill, buddy.
They are. I mean, listen, I feel like the field was stacked for sure when you and I are racing. I mean, the competitors that we were racing against, I'd put them up against the guys that were racing today, and some of the guys that we were able to beat and win championships against. Their records are right up at the top of the list. So, but I just feel like why I feel like it's stacked this year is because there's a lot of guys that can win. Compared to say in our day, maybe there's 3 or 4 guys for me, at least in my era, maybe a couple more in your area, guys that could legitimately win. But dude, now you look down the line. I mean, there's so many guys. Cooper Webb, Ken Roczen, Anderson. I think Hunter could be good for a win on the right night. I think that bike's going to suit him well. And you talk about Eli, Jett, Chase. I mean, the list is endless. So
It is.
I mean, I don't know, dude.
Yeah, and I think too that one thing that we, watching the last 3 SMX rounds, right? Like Jett was phenomenal, amazing. Nobody was better than him, but also I think it was a different set of circumstances. Not a lot of pressure coming in. Now he has established himself as probably the best guy and the guy to beat. So as you know, that has you add another set of some more load on your shoulders, some more pressure, because you are the guy. So it doesn't matter who you are. I know he wants to and thinks that he's the guy, right? So that right there just puts a little more added pressure, stress on the situation. So something that in this class I don't think he's dealt with yet, right? Because outdoors, I mean, let's be honest, he kind of waxed all the boys, So it was a pretty flawless, very easy. I don't want to say easy, but flawless series. No, nothing really caught him off guard. But like we talked about, Supercross is different. It's a different ball game than outdoors.
100%. And that leads me to the next rider. And you talked about Eli already. In my opinion, I feel like that's the question mark for Jett. I will say this. I definitely think that Jett has a lot of talent on the motorcycle. I mean, Eli is super talented, but if you give these 2 guys a motorcycle and you say, hey, go do this, go wheel tap this, blah, 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 I think we all could agree that Jett is going to be a bit better than Eli, but that's not what always win races. I think if, I don't want to think for Jett because I'm not in his head, but if it were me, I would be thinking, man, Eli's the only guy that I haven't raced. I don't really know what he does. I've never followed him. I don't know what it's like to be followed by him. Here's the thing. Jett knows Chase's weaknesses. He knows Chase's strengths. Same for Kenny, same for Cooper. He's raced these guys, so he knows kind of what to expect. That's not the case with Eli. And I just feel like Eli is so strong at the end of the race. And dude, we've talked about this. I think it's going to be a massive challenge for him, and I want to see how he handles it. I'm not saying he can't handle it. He probably will, but it's going to be fun to see how he reacts along with everyone else. But this is the only guy that he doesn't know what Eli does well or doesn't do well, in my opinion, in a race situation, because he's never been there. Yes, he's watched him. He knows he's strong, but it's going to be fun to see the reaction. So that's kind of my deal with Jett on Eli. But I think this injury came at a good time, in my opinion, because I feel like had Eli won the Supercross championship, would have been in a great spot to win or at least challenge Jett for the championship and, of course, be a threat in the SMX World Championship. I feel had he did the trifecta, I just wonder where the motivation would have been. I mean, like at what stage, like would it have been like, dude, I've done it all,
Yeah, that's good. I'm thinking, I think the big question for me is if Eli it can match Jett's pace, because I know Chase only matched Jett's pace a few times, but at that point, Jett already had points lead. He already was in control. Mentally, he was in control. We're starting a new season. And if Eli can come out and get him on the ropes, that's going to be something different that in this class that he hasn't dealt with. And for 20 rounds. So if Eli can get up there and run that pace, we all know that Eli's a veteran in this sport. He's very consistent. He doesn't get really that flustered that easy, and neither does Jett, but also Eli has not put that pressure on Jett. So is Eli the one that can put Jett into that position to make a few mistakes? more than what we're used to seeing.
Yep, 100%. That is exactly what I want to see, and it's going to be fun to watch that. Hey, before we get on this next rider, another fun little segment that we put together this year for Title 24 is the Boxo Breakdown. Each week we're going to be breaking down certain situations that has happened. Thank you to Boxo, great partner. Check them out, boxousa.com. Member lifetime warranty on all of their tools. Super easy to get that warranty product. All you got to do, take a picture, send it to them, and they will send you a new part. So they are the best tool in the game. I know Monster Energy Star Yamaha uses them. Go check their setups out underneath that Yamaha Star Monster team. Should be pretty good. So the Boxo Breakdown is Chase Sexton. Massive move. Leaving Honda, HRC, been with Honda for damn near his whole career, right?
Yep.
We knew the displeasure with the bike that he was having, and he's been kind of honest from what I've heard in the off season. Like, hey, maybe some of the struggles were him not handling certain situations right. This is what I've read and heard from a couple of people. I like him taking personal responsibility. That's cool. But to me, I feel like this is one of those moves, RV, where when you make a move like this, I think it's important you have to come out and you have to basically confirm with yourself that this was the right decision. And that, unfortunately, for some people, that's going to require really good results out of the gate because he's going to be under the microscope, in my opinion. Give us the Boxo breakdown on Chase Sexton, what you think.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Making that big change, making the move to a different team, and it's and also a completely different platform. From an aluminum frame platform to a steel frame platform. So, and then also learning the new team and the team learning Chase. But yeah, he's got to come out and kind of make a. I don't think he needs to come out and win Anaheim 1, but he needs to be up there. Challenging for the race wins. I think first, second, and third round, really get out there and solidify that the change he made was a good one for him mentally. I never switched teams through my whole career. I know you did. So I think I can only speak from the outside looking in on this, but I feel like it could snowball very quickly in the wrong direction. Within the first 5 rounds, because of just how big the change is, so like you said, you want to come out, you want to get there, and you want your mental side of it to be like, hey, I made the right change. This is a winning platform. And you don't really know that till Anaheim 1. I do know that these guys, 3 or 4 of these guys will get the setting perfect. They'll love their motorcycle at Anaheim 1. And about 5 of the other guys are going to have fire drills on Monday where they all go back to the drawing board. Hey, our bike was too stiff. Our bike was too soft. It didn't turn here. It didn't do this. It didn't do what I wanted here. I personally went through that 1 or 2 of the Anaheims where we thought we nailed the nail right on the head coming in, and we get there afterwards, and it's like the fire drill of all fire drills on Monday, right? We need to reinvent the wheel. So I've been in that position, and that's one thing that would be a critical, point and step for Chase. So I hope he nails it because that, right off the bat, because having those 3 main guys in the mix right off the bat is what we all want to see.
Yeah, it's going to be, and I agree with you about it. Definitely, I agree with you. Like I feel like the mental side of things. Yes, you got to come out with a strong performance. Yes, you got to play the long game at the same time. And if the win isn't there, I don't think it's crucial that he wins, but I feel like he has to have a good run. And what I mean, like, the practices need to go fairly well. Like maybe the bike isn't going to work just perfect, but it's manageable. And if they're able to make some changes, hey, that was a positive change. And you just, you have a solid weekend. Again, not lighting it on fire, but you can't be subpar. So that's what I think. That's what I'm going to be looking for. I hope it goes well for him. I know that would be important. So I don't know what the answer is going to be. That's why I'm excited to see how he reacts. But great stuff on the Boxo breakdown. I agree with you 100%. I don't have anything much more valuable to add. However, There's a ton of other guys. I think of guy like Cooper Webb, kind of a bold decision for him. He's leaving KTM. That Chase Sexton thinks that is going to be the magic answer for him. Cooper Webb's been there. We knew he wasn't happy. Now he, kind of like Chase, he thinks he'll be able to contend going to that Monster Energy Star Yamaha team. So he's, in my opinion, he better put up or shut up, right?
Yep, 100%. That's another big move, and we've listened to it at the last 3 SMX rounds. That he thought that this was the move, the change that he needed to get back home. To have his best performances. Just I'm going to go out on a limb here, judging off of his last, the 3 SMX rounds that we had, wasn't that phenomenal of 3 rounds. I know that we all know that he wasn't on the bike that long. He was on the motorcycle longer than I think, was portrayed in social media and in the media in general. But yeah, I think that's going to be a big one, right? Because we have a past champion leaving the team that he won his 2 championships with in Supercross. Right. And going back to the Yamaha and trying to start fresh. So I think he's another one under the microscope too, that really needs to have in these first 3 to 5 rounds, really needs to be up there in the mix for the mental side of it, for the team side of it, and just for the whole series, right? Because it's a long series, and back to what you said about how stacked this class is. I mean, man, from 3rd to 10th, really. I mean, 2, 3, 4 tenths, that could change your race from 4th to 8th, and 8th is not where you want to be. You want to be up in that, Anaheim 1, round 2, round 3. You want to be anywhere from, 1st to 4th and be right. You don't have to be in the mix, but you need to be within a 10th or 2. So it's like, hey, this is a little bit of a bike issue, setting issues. We just need to dial the motorcycle in, and I will have those extra 2 tenths, right? So that's what I think. If anybody, he's another one under the microscope.
Yeah, he is. One thing that I will give Cooper Webb, and you might think different, is I think he needs to have some more raw speed compared to the guys that he's going to be racing. From what I've seen, he did do well. He did well that last night in Paris at Bercy. But I think he's lacked that raw speed, but not always do you need it in the main event. I do feel like if you let a guy like Cooper Webb get a good start, well, no one's letting him get a good start. If he gets a good start and he's able to run up front and he's improved his whoop speed a little bit, I feel like his knowledge and racecraft could possibly help him get up to the speeds that he needs to be at. So maybe his race knowledge might fill in the gaps. What do you think?
Yeah, now that you say that, I'm looking and thinking he kind of reminds me of Chad a little bit, right? Like, certain weekends a bit off the pace, and he's not even in contention. He's a 3rd place guy that weekend, gets 3rd or 4th, and then he shows up the next weekend, and all of a sudden he's going to be racing for that win. So, but I agree, he needs to find a little more speed, because I think what's different now than in the past is when Coop raced and won his championships, there was about 3 guys that could win, but now our field is so stacked. So, really needs to get out there and make a statement for himself, and like you said, show a little more raw speed and pick up the whoop speed a little bit, because with the amount of the depth that we have in this series right now, you can't afford to be running around 3rd or 4th, because man, you're going to have another 8 dogs behind you trying to nip at your heels, so.
A1, I mean, you think about a guy like Ken Roczen. I mean, dude, he shines in moments like this. I feel like he just rises to the occasion. He embraces these kind of moments. He gets excited. I expect nothing less of Kenny. I mean, dude, I'm just looking at this sheet on our rundown here of all these riders. I mean, we could go on and on and on and just give our viewers and listeners hours of our thoughts. But what do you think? You think Kenny's going to be Kenny and do well? And obviously he's one of the favorites to win.
I do, dude. I do. I really, like you said, Kenny has won Anaheim 1 multiple times.
Four
There's
times, I
something,
think. Four times.
yeah, quite a few. There's something about, Kenny showing up to these, and I don't want to say a high pressure situation because there's, you can lose this week, you can lose the championship this weekend, but you definitely cannot win it. Everybody's heard that. But for some reason, you know, Kenny's able to show up, and ride, like it would be round 10 for me or
Yep.
round 10 for you, right? Like in the flow, in the zone, where I'd always show up at Anaheim 1, like, man, what's James been doing? What's he, how fast is he? I had a lot of questions, and I'm not saying Kenny doesn't, but for whatever reason, like you said, he rises to the occasion at Anaheim 1 in these first 3 rounds. What I think we've all talked is Kenny kind of has a lull halfway through the season, and that's going to be. I know Kenny's going to come out. He'll be a contender for this win more than likely at Anaheim 1. But can Kenny keep it in for the long haul for the 20 rounds?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And for all of our viewers and listeners here at Title 24, that's what we both RV and I know, that Kenny can rise up to the occasion. He shines in multiple moments like this. His history and stats speak for themselves. He had a better year last year at the end of the season. I was happy to see that for Kenny. But to RV's point, definitely that's what I'm looking to see, if Kenny can go a little bit deeper into the series and be there midway through, so he can, assuming he finishes as strong as he did last year, he'd be in the title fight for sure. So that's what I'm looking for with Kenny. Hey, I know that you've got some scuttlebutt from this next dude, but I had a good conversation with Jason Anderson at Media Days. It was pleasant, dude. He seemed like he's in a great spot. He shared some insight of what had went on last year, and not in a bad way, just some areas where he thought that he needed to be better, and why we saw the repetitive mistakes. And needless to say, he said that he's in a great spot this year with the motorcycle. Have you heard anything? Is the motorcycle that much better? It's a new one, right?
Yep. So it's a new platform. And I actually was able to talk to, I forget his name, but one of the guys that helped develop it. I ran into him at one of the California tracks, and it was kind of funny because he was telling me, he goes, the Kawasaki used to be, or was, one of the worst bikes in the mud. And I'm like, that to kind of turned a light on in my head, because I was like, dude, I couldn't ride my bike in the mud. Like, it was absolutely, I don't know, rigid, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So they have a new platform. I've seen videos online, social media, and things like that. And yes, the bike is completely different than what I rode. It's been 8 years or 9 years, right? So, but little traits, there's little traits that these motorcycles have that even 8 years out, you can kind of see the trait that it has, right? I don't see that anymore with the new platform. I feel like it's a lot more forgiving. Just watching off social media, watching AC, watching Jason. It looks more forgiving. It looks more forgiving in the slippery, call it muddier material. Hard pack stuff. It's more forgiving in the edgy whoops, things like that. So that being said, if the motorcycle is that much easier to ride for him, the mistakes might be a lot fewer, right? So I hope so, because last year I actually was expecting Jason to be on the podium a lot more and at least knock down a few wins. So
yeah, 100%.
That being said, I think I think this year I know it's a new chassis, new platform, but it's kind of his time, right? He needs to kind of pull the rabbit out of the hat.
Yeah, he said he told me at Media Days that the new platform that you're explaining, RV, is that the problem spots he had last year, and you're spot on. Like, and it looked to me the same way. It just looks super rigid, especially the front end on like the hard pack stuff, or if there's ever little chattery braking bumps, there's just like no compliance with the chassis whatsoever. And he did say that it has gotten a lot better. So I look forward to it. I think he's great for the fans. I think people like that. When I talked to him at Media Days again, he said that they had fixed the problem spots. He's super comfortable, and he still feels like he could run that pace and run that speed. He's another guy, I mean, you know how it is, RV. When these guys have been doing it for so long, their knowledge and then their experience and their tenure can fill in so many gaps. Like we're talking about Cooper Webb. When you have a guy that's won so many championships and they've been in the game for a while, if you can run a similar speed, dude, the knowledge is worth a couple tenths. So I hope for the Monster Energy Cowie team he does well as well. I like the crew over there. Next guy. So here at Title 24, we've always been about fans and going back and forth with them. We take a lot of questions from the fans. This next rider that we want to talk about is going to be a fan question from King O 125. Why is everyone sleeping on Hunter? He says. Do you think everyone's sleeping on Hunter?
I mean, I do. I think he's flown under the radar. There's not been a lot of talks about Hunter. I do agree. I think that there hasn't been a ton of videos of him either riding. But I will say, watching Hunter and over the years of riding the lights bike or the 250 bike, I do think once he gets a few races under his belt, for some reason, I feel like the 450 is going to suit him a little bit more. I think the 250 Honda was a little slow. I think he had to override it to run the pace with those guys. I think his starts had to be absolutely perfect to put himself in a position to fight with Haiden and the top star guys and the top PC guys and things like that. And as you know, when you line up at motocross or supercross, and you have to be razor sharp on the line, on the gate, when the gate drops. That's a little nerve wracking when it's like, if you don't, because we all know out of all the gate drops that we do throughout the season, we know we're going to have a mistake or be late on the gate or, whatever the case may be. And I feel like that now is not going to be in his head. He's got the horsepower. All these 450s are so fast now. And I think his riding style is going to suit that 450. I do think he's a little more precise than sometimes than Jett. I do see Hunter making mistakes and he doesn't recover from his mistakes as well as Jett. I feel like when Jett makes a mistake, it goes in one ear and out the other, where I feel like Hunter dwells on it sometimes a little longer than he should, because look, a mistake's a mistake. Why dwell on what just happened? Let's move forward. That's what anybody that asks me, that's a 250 guy. Well, how do you, I'm like, why are you making mistake after mistake after mistake? You make a mistake. It happens. It's motocross. It's supercross. You're nobody's going to be perfect. Don't think about it. Move on, brush it off and move to the next one. Click your laps off.
Right. Don't like, I don't know, like what your dad used to teach you. My mom always used to say, don't turn one mistake into 2 or 3 other mistakes. Right.
Yep,
just
100%.
Make one and tear off and move on down the next. Next couple guys, Aaron Plessinger. I'd love to see him do good. He's a man of the people. I don't know. We'll see. I'm pulling for him. I heard he's had a great off season. But Malcolm Stewart, when we were at Media Days, he was kind of underplaying how well that I heard that he has been riding. Little Birdie told me that, dude, he's at another level, that they are all chasing him at the test tracks during the week or wherever they ride at the facilities. So have you heard anything on Malcolm?
I have not. The only thing I've kind of heard from the Husky side of things from Vital and I think Swap Moto was they were kind of I guess they had 2 chassis to try and had the option of running 2 chassis, which is kind of cool. Don't know how that's going to play, how that's going to affect, each one of those riders, Christian Craig or Mook Dog. But last year, Mookie rode really well at the start of Supercross. I think it's time for him to win. I think he's got the talent. He's got the speed. It all comes down to him minimizing the mistakes. As we know, Malcolm has the speed. He's got the talent. It's just been the mistakes that have his winning the Supercross has eluded him.
Yeah, that hosed him last year for sure. I think before he got hurt, there's been 2 instances for sure that I know I'm like, oh, dude, he's got it in the bag tonight. Yep. And then you're like, oh, crap, what happened? But yeah, so we'll see. I mean, that guy has incredible whoop speed. Everyone that is listening or watching us on the show, when you guys are watching the broadcast this weekend, and hopefully it will present itself. But watch how fast that Malcolm is able to get into the whoop section, dude. He carries so much speed coming into the whoops, and then he's able to maintain that speed, which is always easier. The quicker you can get in and just maintain whoop speed makes it a lot easier. Dude, I know you got some deep thoughts and important thoughts on this next guy, but I want to mention this guy's accolades. It's Jorge Prado. He's a 3-time world MXGP champion. Well, not MXGP class, but 2-time MX2 champ and reigning MXGP champ, 3-time world champ. So when we talked to him at media days, dude, he told us that all he ever wanted to do was race Anaheim 1. Like that was his dream, to race Anaheim 1. Like when he was a little kid, it wasn't race MXGPs or whatever it might be. He wanted to race Anaheim. Well, he's gotten that opportunity, and I hope he does well. The kid is, he's so happy. He's fun to be around, and I think that the sport needs. The sport would benefit to see him do well. An MXGP guy coming over here, they're always got this little stigma of they can't ride Supercross, blah blah blah. What's your thoughts, dude?
So, like I mentioned, I was able to go out 2 or 3 times this season just to check up on Ryder D. Hey man, come out and check me out. Since I worked with him last year, and so I got to witness and got to see Prado out on the Supercross track, and I'll be honest, the kid's got skills. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's going to turn out and win Anaheim 1. I think he's one hell of a starter. So more than likely he puts himself in a good position. And from what I saw speed-wise, he should be, I think, around the top 5, which would be a phenomenal finish anywhere around that. I mean, even top 10, right? With the field that we have, I think he's better than top 10. I think he's more around the 5th through 8th mark. If he makes it through Anaheim 1 with no, tip overs or mistakes. But as we all know, huge learning curve, I went to MXGP and raced 4 rounds. My world was turned upside down. I do think it's a little easier to come to the US from the living standpoint and the practicing standpoint, and just because our amenities are basically 24 hours. Everybody wants to come to the US, right? So that's where he's at. He's landed himself here. But I'm telling you guys, if he makes it through these 3 rounds healthy, I think we see him do really well by round 3.
You think he'll be here? You think he'll be here after his MXGP contract? If he does well, I know it's a massive if. You think he's I think he wants to stay here after his MXGP, in my opinion. I think it all hinges on these 3 races, whether he gets a great taste of it and he's coming back. If he gets a sour taste, I don't think he comes back.
So I think that there is a video of him running around, going over the bars in the whoops. He's already had a big one, a couple big ones. So it hasn't deterred him, right? It hasn't. I got to talk to him when I was out there at TLD's track. And he told me, had a big one in the whoops, and flew over the bars and landed, slapped his back on a takeoff of a 3-footer. So it was a gnarly one. But no, I do see him here next year full time, because I think he's got the skills. It's not a case of him, it's of him going out in these first 3 rounds and maybe not cutting the mustard. I've already seen him ride. He's developed. He's there. That doesn't mean he doesn't have a ton to learn. But I do think that the Europeans are very smart. I even want to err on the side of that they're a lot of times smarter than the US riders, the way they've been brought up and how they race their tracks. You don't see them coming out like we do, just balls to the walls right away. They spend their time in their 20-minute practice and they're warm up. They're methodical. So yes, I see him coming back 100%.
Perfect. So that was a question. Riley Stevens, 56. He said, they say, what result will be a positive for Prado? You answered that because knowing he's a rookie in the premier class. So Riley Stevens, 56. There you go. Your man RV telling you right there. Anything inside top 5 would be like a win. I agree. That would be damn impressive if he's able to do that. Not saying he's not capable of that, but it just, you guys, I mean, you know how it is. It's like a hornet's nest. Like for everyone that lives in California, it's like never driving on the 405 in LA during rush hour traffic, and then that's your driving experience right there.
And that's what I had actually told him. I said, the racing part you'll be fine with. And I told him, I said, told a few people that was around us. I was like, the biggest thing he's going to have to learn is having a front wheel right here by your head, or having 22 guys in bars all in the first turn, and the chaos that happens inside of the first lap or first 3 laps. Not to say MXGP doesn't have that, because, sometimes they do, but it's not like Supercross. So, I just think the learning of how Supercross is raced. I mean, he's got the skill. Like I said, he's got the starting. He can start. He can pull whole shots. I think he's going to be a contender for next year for podiums.
Hey, this is going to be interesting. You've been pretty outspoken about this. So Joseph Bramlett, 24, asks, do you think Ferrandis not having factory support will affect his performance? So let me just say real quick. I feel like he's one of those guys too, RV. When you change a team and you make these adjustments that you want, you better perform. What do you think?
I agree. And I think there's a couple different scenarios you can look at this. Going to it's not a factory team. He might have a smidge of factory support, but look, it's not a factory team. And I think some guys that plays into the benefit. Some guys that are, I don't want to say he's on the cusp, but on the cusp like that, a factory, non-factory. Some guys actually, the factory brings too much stress, too much, to perform. I don't think that was Dylan. I think what Dylan's going to run into is not having the backing and the parts and the support from the factory to make the changes he needs over the course of 20 rounds.
Right.
I think he's going to really, when they find something they're struggling with, that is more than just internal suspension work. I think it's going to be tough. It's not a factory team. So, and as we know, that things can start to snowball really quick if the rider can't get it under control within 1 or 2 rounds.
There you go. You heard it from the man himself, Ryan Villopoto, on his thoughts on Ferrandis. Appreciate the question, Joseph. Before we switch gears to the 250 West class, just quick notable, keep your eye on Adam Cianciarulo. Had another great talk with him at Media Days. He, in my opinion, listen, I think to make as many races as he did last year was certainly a positive. Once in a while he has some issues with that nerve in his arm, and I asked him, can he tell? And he's like, dude, not always. He said there's no rhyme or reason. So hopefully he has more good days than he has bad days with that thing, or at least I hope that he doesn't have flare-ups on race day. I think he's well spoken. He gets really good starts as well. And I think if he can build on the season that he had last year, I only anticipate him to be better. So hopefully AC does well. That's enough meat for the 450. We will break down everything on the 450 after Anaheim next week. We'll be Monday morning quarterback, all of you guys. So don't mess up. So 250 West. Sorry, all you Haiden Deegan fans. He isn't racing the West Coast, but I want you to answer this. So Fab Pal 10 RV asks, thoughts on Deegan not racing West because they know he can't beat Joe?
Yeah.
You think that's why he didn't race? Do you think he's worried about Joe?
Yeah, Fab Pal 110. I don't. That's far fetched there, buddy. Right off the top, let's talk Joe switching teams. He's the team, new bike, new team. He's got to learn the motorcycle. The team's got to learn him. in those race scenarios. I do not think that Haiden is dodging Jo. I think that was probably a strategic decision based on Brian and Star. But no, I do not think that he is dodging Jo. I think that Jo is going to be fast. Jo can win races. Jo can beat Haiden. But no, there's no dodging going on there, buddy.
No. Jo versus Hampshire, that'll be good. The Star Boys they're always good. Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki guys are going to be great as well. I mean, these 250 classes are just so good. You just never know who's going to rise to the occasion. You got Ryder D changing teams. I mean, I think about just how long he's been with the Kawasaki, coming up through their amateur program, the Team Green program, then shifting over to Pro Circuit Kawasaki team. But a lot to look forward to, which I mean, is there anything you want to say? Anybody else you think we need?
Well,
I
think, yeah, I know. I think interesting. Ryder D, like you said, switch teams. We have Levi Kitchen over at PC now. I do think that this is this is I would say a pivotal point in his career. Yep. That okay. Let's say he doesn't win the championship, but he needs to win. I think in the lights class, I think he needs to win 4 to 5 races to kind of solidify himself in that class. Not that he already hasn't, but I know Levi's capabilities. I've seen him ride from 80s on up because he's from up by me. He's definitely a very talented individual. His racing needs to improve a little bit, less mistakes. It's also a stacked field in the 250 class.
Dude, it's super stacked. I think Joe's going to do great. I think he's going to be at a great. I think he's in a great environment. Myself personally, RJ, you guys know RJ. He always sends it. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch. He always gives it 110%. You can see it in his riding. Eliminate some of those tip overs, and I think he'll be a super challenge for the championship. And yeah, I think I'm looking forward to, like you're saying, even like with the Kitchen deal, like how's he going to do? I think he needs to do better than what he did at Star for sure. He's got plenty of talent. That guy can do amazing things on the bike. Looking forward to seeing how Volan does.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll do well. He's doing West, right?
I believe so. Yep. And I've heard that he's riding very well right now on the PC bike. So interesting. Another one that switched teams, new platform, new team learning, coming in with, Mitch behind him. I think that, not that KTM didn't work for him, but I feel like this might be a little bit better home fit for him.
There you go. All right. So second year around, the Quad Lock question of the week. Thank you, Quad Lock. We appreciate your partnership. Make sure you guys check them out, quadlockcase.com, for all your phone case needs. They got chargers, mounts for your adventure bikes, UTVs, you name it. They've got it all. I like the charger. The charger works really well. It's like a magnetic charger. I set it on my bedside. Works awesome. They got a little wallet that attaches it as well. So make sure you check them out. We appreciate everybody at Quad Lock. Quad Lock question of the week is from Christopher Parrish. And the reason that Christopher wins the Quad Lock question of the week is because this is such a hot topic, and the stats behind this question are just they're amazing. You would think that winning Anaheim 1, that most Anaheim 1 winners go on to win the championship. Not so fast. So Christopher Pear says, how important is it to win A1, or is a top 5 finish the aim for most teams?
Well, I think it is important to win A1 if it's in reach.
Really?
If it's in reach.
Why is it important?
Well,
if you're going to win the championship,
I think it makes your entire season go a little bit easier. So, and I can speak for that firsthand. I have won Anaheim 1 twice, I believe. And then I've left Anaheim 1. I think the worst time I left there was a 16th position. So way, quite a ways out of the top 10, and I was playing catch up. all, up until round probably 8 or 9. From why I say important is when you show up at Anaheim 1 with all the hype and with all the pressure, everything that's there, and you knock off that win, it's such a stress reliever after that. Okay, boom, we got the points lead. Not so much based on the points, but just that you were able to leave there with the win. Now, third is just as good as a win if the win wasn't in reach. It's a pretty, I think it's a fairly prestigious race to win. Anaheim 1. I was lucky enough to do it twice. Like I said, it just makes your Monday and your first couple weeks of Supercross, I feel, go a little bit easier. You're not not that you're chasing your tail after you have a bad Anaheim 1, but going home on Monday, it sure feels a hell of a lot better hanging that trophy up on the wall.
Okay, let me ask you this then. So obviously we all want to win races, right? We want to win every race that we line up for. But when you went to Anaheim 1, what was your sole goal for that night? Was it to win? Like, tell me what your game plan was.
Sole goal was to be within contention. So if that meant third, second, it wasn't. No, I didn't put win in my head. Like I'm going to Anaheim 1 to win. Okay. That wasn't what I thought. I thought, let's get through Anaheim 1, solid points. Let's see where our bike's at. Let's see where everybody else is at. And if the win is achievable, you take it, because I feel like after that, some teams are going to have fire drills on Mondays, on the Monday right after, and some are just going to be like, hey, I was just totally off the pace. Bike was fine. Anaheim 1 has it has a weird stigma around it when you swing your leg over the bike. I don't know. It's different than most Supercross races.
Yeah, I had I was kind of the same way. Like, I went in there, I'm like, dude, if I can be on the podium, that'll be great, because I feel like this, to your point, it has a stigma around it. And I feel like a lot of riders ride better than what they will be riding for the whole season. Like, they're just so amped up, and they're just so much drama and enthusiasm. And it's like lightning in a bottle almost. And I hated racing in those environments. Not that because I did poorly, I just didn't like them, so I was kind of like a mid-season down the stretch kind of guy. But I'm with you. I went there. If the win was there, obviously I was going to take it. Hell yeah. But just to have that little checkbox. But at the end of the day, I was always big picture. So Christopher Parrish, we appreciate it. You know what to do. You win the Quad Lock question of the week. First one of season 2. Congratulations. Slide into the Title 24 direct message on Instagram, and our man JH will put you in contact with Quad Lock, and Quad Lock will send you some swag. You know what? There's a big weekend on Motorsports this weekend, RV. Maybe the first week of January, but Motorsports has begun. It starts Thursday with SMX Insiders, Jason Wygant, Jason Thomas on YouTube, as you know. Same thing there. And then Friday, the Dakar Rally begins Saudi Arabia. Catch that nightly at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Peacock. And then there's Saturday night, A1, baby. Check that out. You can see right there, 2:30 p.m. race day live, practice and qualifying. That's live on Peacock. Make sure you check it out. And all new this year, all West Coast races are going to be starting 8 p.m. Eastern time. So check that out. Man, I am so excited for that. It'll be 7:30 Eastern on Peacock. We got a pre-race show. So make sure you check out on Peacock. 7:30 p.m. Saturday. That is going to be really, really cool. Having that pre-show, man, I can't wait for that. I love the earlier time. When I heard talks and rumblings of it, I'm all for it, because I'm from the East Coast, RV, and a lot of people, a lot of fans watch, so they won't have to watch the next day with it starting at 8. So good stuff. Make sure you tune in to that. So that's RV, that's about it for right now. What'd you think? You get in everything you wanted to say before you hit the slopes, you sorry dog?
No, I think so. I'm excited to get Title 24 back up and running. I had a great time doing that last year, and man, I'm looking forward to Anaheim 1 and seeing where all these guys are going to fall. It's feels like it's been a while since I know the racers don't feel like it's been a while. They're like, we just got done. But no, from the fans' perspective, I'm ready, man. I'll be there. I'm bringing the boys to Anaheim 1, and we're gonna have a good time, and we're gonna watch some amazing racing.
Yep, that's right. Well, good stuff. Keep the shiny side up there. Thank you everyone for tuning in and all the support. We appreciate all of our partners, United Motorsports, Boxo, and Quad Lock. You guys are the best. We appreciate you for jumping on, and also to United Motorsports, Boxo, and Quad Lock for giving our viewers and listeners some product. Remember, for the audio version of this, we're on all of the podcast platforms, so you can download whichever podcast platform you like, and you can listen to it audio there. Or remember, everything is on demand at the Motorsports NBC YouTube page, so check that out. And of course, it's always on demand on Peacock. So we appreciate you guys, and have an excellent weekend watching the starting of the second SMX and the first round of the Monster Energy Supercross. It's going to be great.
Hi folks, Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.